In this video, we'll show you how to replace the window regulator on your Ford F-150. This is located inside the door and behind the interior panel. Let's get started. We can go ahead and remove our interior door panel. At the bottom, we have two 6mm screws. Coming up into the middle portion of the door panel, we have our door handle. There's a small little panel on the interior. Go ahead and pry that up. Remove that, and that gives us access to another screw. With the cover removed, we can see that we have an 8mm bolt down in the handle here. Behind the door latch handle, we have another small panel. I'll be using a pick with a hook on it. You can certainly use a flathead screwdriver. We're just going to pull on this. We can remove that and set it off to the side. And we have another screw behind there. It's another 8mm. Now we can come in on the edge of our window switch panel. I'll be using a trim tool. You can certainly use a flathead screwdriver, but you may want to use a rag to not damage the door panel. Once we have this pulled up out of the door, you'll have 3 electrical connectors. Simply press down on the tabs. It can help to push in on the connector when you press the tab in. And then you can pull it out. You want to make sure to check your terminals for any damage or corrosion. These look good. We can remove the other 2. We'll set this off to the side. With everything removed, to remove the door panel, simply lift up. We can let that down. On the back side of the interior panel, we have 2 electrical connectors for the mirror controls. You can go ahead and unplug those. These have tabs just like the other electrical connectors. Now we need to disconnect the latch. To do that, simply pinch in on the 2 tabs. I'm using a set of needle nose pliers. We can pull out on that, move it towards the outside of the vehicle, and pick up. Now we can remove our door panel. With the door panel removed, we have a bracket here in the center. We'll go ahead and remove that with 3 8mm bolts. And with the bracket out of the way, we can start to peel back our protective weather covering. Now I'm simply going to roll this up and tuck it back out of the way. In order to remove the regulator, we need the window in the up position. If you didn't do that at the beginning, you can go ahead and plug your switches back in. With the window rolled up, we can go ahead and unplug our connectors. To release the window from the regulator, we have 2 10mm bolts, one at the opening at the front and one at the opening at the back. We can go ahead and loosen these up, but you don't need to remove them. When we remove the regulator, we need to support the window, so we'll go ahead and use some masking tape to hold it up. With the window taped up and the pinch bolts of the regulator loosened, we can go ahead and lower the regulator down. To remove our regulator, we have 2 10mm bolts up top and 2 10mm bolts down bottom. We have one more 10mm holding the motor in right here. We can go ahead and unplug our electrical connector to the motor. There's a tab on the top. Press down on that, pull it out. Make sure you check your terminals for any corrosion or damage. These look good. Before we can install the regulator, we're just going to thread the upper bolts in just a little bit. We can go ahead and install our new regulator. Go ahead and install the bolt for the motor. We'll snug that down. We can continue around, snugging down the rest of our bolts too. Now we can go ahead and plug in our regulator motor. You want to make sure that's fully seated and not going to pull back out. Now that we have the regulator in, we can go ahead and roll up the regulator. Now we can go ahead and tighten down our regulator pinch bolts to attach the window to the regulator. These don't need to be too tight, just snug. Now we can go ahead and remove our tape. Now that we have the window attached to the regulator, you're going to want to test it before you get anything else back together. Looks like our regulator's working. We can continue. We can go ahead and unplug our window switches once again. And you'll want to line up where each flap is, where your inner panel installs. We can go ahead and reinstall this bracket. We'll tighten these down. These can be snug, but you don't want to over tighten these. You can hang the interior door panel on just the bottom hooks, and that'll allow you to lean the door panel against yourself while you plug in the mirror connections, line up your window connections with the opening, and we can go ahead and attach the cable to our door latch. Now we can go ahead and install the hardware. One behind the door latch. And one in the door handle. You can go ahead and reinstall the panel behind the door latch. Pop that in, make sure it's secured. And the cover for the door handle. Pop that in, make sure that's fully down. We can install the 2 screws at the bottom of the door. You want to be extra cautious tightening these 2. And we'll do the same on the one in the front. We can go ahead and plug in our window switches. Make sure each of them fully seats down and won't pull back out. We can press in the window switch panel. With the door panel on, we'll give it one final test to make sure that there's no interference with the window. Looks like it's working, so we're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.